As a coach, if you're big on Instagram but you don't start taking YouTube serious enough right now, you are going to regret it by 2026. Because here's the reality, short-form content is becoming the junk food of content. It's fast, it's addictive, but it's not nourishing your business as it used to be. It's not like in 2021 where everyone could build a successful online business just by posting a few reels and a few stories. And all the big creators have noticed this and are shifting their attention to YouTube content. And if you don't want to get left behind, you need to pay more attention to YouTube as well. And I bet you've already noticed this change, but you're wondering why all the big creators are doing this and if it's really that effective. Well, spoiler alert, it is. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 4 main reasons why every big creator is shifting towards YouTube and why you should probably as well. Now I know this because I've literally spent the last entire week just sitting at my laptop analyzing what content is working right now. Okay, so the first reason why all the most successful coaches will be focusing their attention to YouTube by 2026 is that there is a big cultural change happening to social media right now. Let me explain. A few years ago, we were all addicted to scrolling. Reels were exploding, TikTok was booming, and really anyone could build a successful online business just by posting some value on Instagram or TikTok. But something shifted. Now people are tired of being bombarded by low quality informations every 20 seconds. And this changes everything for coaches. Think of short form content like fast food. It's quick, it's cheap, it's everywhere, and it's great for a while. But after you consume a lot of it, you feel bloated and unsatisfied. Now long form content on the other hand is like a healthy meal. For most people this will not trigger the same pleasure right away, but they know that that's what they actually need to consume and that it will have a positive effect on their lives. And you can very clearly see this big cultural shift towards this healthy food by analyzing the huge rise in popularity of podcasts over the last few years. In less than 2 years, the total listenership of podcasts on Spotify has more than doubled, going from approximately 100,000 listeners in 2023 to over 250,000 in 2025. Another example is that people are watching more and more longer videos on YouTube, especially younger viewers. From 2023 to 2024, the consumption of videos over 30 minutes rose from 58% to almost 80% for viewers between 18 to 24 years of age. I think you can see the trend here. People are tired of meaningless scrolling. What they want is depth. And here, YouTube wins every single time. The big takeaway is this. In 2026, attention will shift even more towards content that respects people's intelligence and goes really deep when it comes to the information provided. And coaches who adapt to that shift will be the ones dominating. Okay, so people want to watch longer content with more depth. But why can't you just post longer content on Instagram that goes into much more depth? That would resolve the problem without having to switch platforms, right? Well, there are still 3 other reasons that make YouTube so attractive to coaches. And the second reason is probably the biggest reason why you should focus your attention to YouTube going into 2026. And that is that YouTube is the perfect platform to convert viewers into high-ticket sales. Now here's the truth. High-ticket clients don't buy from 30-second reels. They need to trust your product or service and you before they buy. In his book Oversubscribed, author Daniel Pretzley introduced the concept of the 7-hour rule, which states that a prospect needs around 7 hours of engagement or interaction with a brand before they buy. You can think about it like planting seeds. You can't expect the plant to grow after watering it once. You need to water it over and over until it grows. Now every hour of content your prospects consume is like a watering, and after 7 hours of consuming your content, they're ready to be sold. Now this might not always take 7 hours, but you get the point. The more someone watches your content, the more they like you, the more they trust you, and the more likely they are to buy from you. And this isn't just theory. The conversion rates of mid to long form videos, so videos that are between 5 to 20 minutes, are around 8 to 12%. For videos under a minute, the same conversion rate drops to barely 1%. Furthermore, YouTube acts as an ecosystem that keeps you watching your content, making them spend more time with you and therefore trusting you more and becoming closer and closer to becoming a buying customer. Here's how this works. Unlike short form videos, YouTube videos stay relevant for months if not years after you post them. And this will not only have the benefit of new people discovering you based on your older content, but also allows the viewer to watch few of your videos one after the other. What you should remember is this. Because you give people the time to build trust, they convert much easier. As I said, for videos between 5 to 20 minutes, the conversion rate is between 8 to 12%, which is a lot. Now you could theoretically get similar results with short form content alone. But what do you think is easier, making someone watch one 20-minute video or 21-minute videos? So already the first two reasons should really be enough for you to be convinced to start posting on YouTube. But I know that even though the ROI on YouTube is insane, it's still very time consuming. But the next reason might solve this issue. The third reason why all the most successful coaches will be focusing their attention on YouTube by 2026 is that YouTube can act as the great replacer. Here's what I mean. Right now, most coaches are juggling between Instagram, TikToks, emails, X, and maybe even LinkedIn. The point is that they are splitting their attention in all these different directions, trying to build some kind of funnel. Now imagine one platform that could do all of what the other platforms can do. Discovery, nurturing, building trust, conversion, you name it. And that's YouTube. That's why I call it the great replacer. You can think of YouTube like a big supermarket. Inside you have everything: a meat section, a fish section, a vegetable section, a food section, and a bakery. On the other hand, juggling between all these different smaller platforms, that's like having a mall with the same selections of goods, but divided into 5 different shops. Now you might be able to find the same groceries in both stores, but as the owner, what do you think is easier to manage? One big supermarket or 5 individual stores? The point is, YouTube could be the only platform you post on, and you still would be able to tick off all the purposes of other platforms. For example, instead of using Instagram stories to show your lifestyle, you could post a longer vlog from time to time. Or instead of trying to give value to your audience spread between 10 60-second reels, you could just post a 10-minute YouTube video. But let's zoom out for a second. This doesn't mean that only posting on YouTube is the most optimal way to go about content. It works and it could be great if you're just starting out, but there is a better way. Now each platform has its ups and downsides, but the good news is you only need 2 to really build the best performing social media sales funnel of this day and age, and that's Instagram and YouTube. But I've made a video that explains exactly how to use each platform to create the optimal social media sales funnel. So make sure you go watch that video right after this one. I'll leave a link in the description. Alright, the last reason, number 4, is that YouTube gives you brand awareness everywhere else. Think of YouTube as the roots of your brand. The deeper and stronger they grow, the more your branches, Instagram, TikTok or X, can flourish. And you probably noticed this yourself. When you look at people who have a huge following on Instagram and you go over to their YouTube page and they don't post consistently, they probably won't have much followers. But the other way around, if you look at people who are big on YouTube, if you go to their Instagram, most of the time they will also have a fair amount of followers, even if they just posted a few pictures. You see, YouTube subscribers are like super followers. And this goes back to the 7-hour rule we talked about before. Since they have spent more time watching your content, they trust you more and they resonate with your story on a deeper level. That means that when they then see you pop up on Instagram, TikTok or anywhere else, they know you and your story, and they engage differently. YouTube doesn't just grow your channel, it elevates your brand everywhere else. Alright, that's all I got for this video. We covered the 4 main reasons why the biggest Instagram coaches are shifting their focus over to YouTube going into 2026. First, we went over the big culture shift happening to content right now. Second, we saw why YouTube is the perfect content format to sell high-ticket products. Third, we went over why YouTube could be the only platform you post on. And lastly, we discussed the idea of YouTube super followers and why YouTube elevates your brand everywhere else. Now, as I mentioned, going all in on YouTube right now can work, but it's not the most optimal way to go about it. And that's why I made a separate video going over the exact content funnel the top 25 creators are using to generate hundreds of millions of dollars every month. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, so make sure to go check that out.